Alright, so the Luminosity Invitational just wrapped up, and I'm gonna be honest, this was kind of a snooze fest for me. And I know I'm not the only one that feels like this, and trust me, I'm not hating on the event, but I'll kind of give my thoughts a little bit about how this tournament went, and kind of what was wrong about it, what went right, you know, all that kind of stuff. But before we get into all of that, I of course have to give a big shout out to Shattuck. Of course, he has been making some strides lately, and if you didn't already know, he's also sponsored by Stride, so that's kind of why I use that word. But anyways, Shattuck ended up winning this whole event. He came from losers. He ended up, you know, winning 2 sets back-to-back against Sonics after losing to him in winners finals. And yeah, he just really impressive run overall, and he's just kind of further solidifying himself as like the next great player, I feel like. I think this event really kind of helped his case. You know, he went through some impressive wins because pretty much all the wins here were impressive. So he definitely had a very impressive run here. And yeah, it's obviously a stacked event because it's an invitational with the best players in the world. And I'm going to be completely honest, I had a different like thumbnail in mind, a different like title for this video in mind until I saw that Shattuck was winning this event, because up until that point, this tournament was not the best viewing experience in my opinion. Which I said we're gonna get into, so we'll get to that. But I feel like up until grand finals, like I said, this was kind of a snooze fest a little bit. To start off, I feel like this tournament was kind of poorly advertised. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this was really happening until like 3 or 4 days ago. They did reveal it on April Fool's Day in a like fake like retirement video for MKLeo, which I didn't even click on because on April Fool's, like pretty much anything I see like online, like on Twitter, I'm just like, okay, this is like, oh, MKLeo's retiring, and you just look at the calendar, you see it's April 1st, it's like, okay, like, obviously this is a joke. So yeah, maybe that's my fault because, like, I didn't look into it, but I'm not gonna waste 2 minutes watching a video that I already know is, like, not real, you know what I'm saying? And then to be honest, I don't even think on Luminosity they posted about it until, like, a week later again, so that's why, to me, like, I really was not, and, like, again, this might just be me, I might be the only person in the world that didn't catch this, but, like I said, I didn't watch the video, I just thought, like, oh, it's a dumb April Fool's joke, so let me not watch it. And then they didn't really post about it until like a week later, but I didn't even really see that because I just wasn't paying attention. But I know I'm not the only one that feels like this because, a lot of times when tournaments wrap up, I like to kind of see what people are talking about. And just from what I've kind of seen online, a lot of people are kind of saying the same stuff. A lot of people kind of said that this tournament could have been advertised a little bit better. I think it's mostly like a timing thing, they kind of revealed it pretty close to the actual event, less than a month before the event actually happened. So I feel like had they announced this like earlier, kind of build up the hype a little bit, I think that would have helped a lot. They did advertise it, like I said, that's my fault for not really looking into it that much, but I just feel like there wasn't enough time to really build up the hype, and it really didn't seem like a big deal, to be honest. Now, the other big issue that people have are kind of just the way that this tournament was set up. Traditionally with invitationals, right, like obviously you have invited players, whether it be players that, won a major tournament and they get invited because of that, or, they're like top 5 in the world or something, so they get invited because of that. With this tournament, it seems like they kind of just invited who they wanted to. Obviously, this is sponsored by Luminosity, so 4 out of the 10 slots are going to be by the players sponsored by Luminosity, which really only leaves about 6 slots. And I mean, yeah, like, 4 of those are filled by like really, really good players. 2 are filled by, more so content creators, which, when I saw that, it didn't really bother me at all, to be honest. I see people complaining like, oh, why is HBox invited? Why is Mars invited? But then you kind of see the results of the tournament, and they both went 0-4. I think Mars might have won 1 game the entire tournament out of any of his sets, 1 or 2 games, something like that. I don't think HBox won any. So when you look at it from that perspective, I can kind of see why people will like feel that way now, I mean, for me personally, like, I never think it's a bad thing when HBox gets invited to this kind of stuff because you have to realize how much of a following he has. And when it comes to Smash, like, you're not really getting those big sponsorships that other esports are getting. So to have like the player that has the biggest social media following be at the event, I think that obviously helps a lot. So, from that perspective, like I said, that's why I was not mad about them inviting HBox. But again, like from a competitive standpoint, yeah, it's looking kind of rough. And the reason why that's looking pretty rough is because this tournament is considered an A-tier event. So as you guys know, LumiRank, the kind of sort of unofficial, official ranking system for Smash Ultimate, they're the ones that kind of, look at everything and they kind of, give major tournaments a rating, S tier, A tier, B tier, depending on how many people attend the event, also, you know, how good the players are. So, you know, it's a combination of different things. But because there are so many good players at this 10-person tournament that, you know, is invite only, there's no other way to qualify for it besides them saying, hey, we want you at our tournament. That qualifies it as an A tier. And again, to put that into perspective, which I think I keep saying throughout this video, but to put that into perspective, an example of a B+ tier, which is not even an A tier event, was CEO last year, 2023, which DeBuzz won, which had 513 entrants, winning over, you know, Riddles, Yara was at that event, MVD, Apollo Kage, Isam, you know, not a whole lot of top players, but 513 entrants. And again, that's kind of crazy because that tournament had 513 players, obviously not the best players in the world, but still, you know, some pretty solid players at the event. And that was a B+ tournament. And meanwhile, we had this Invitational, which is an A tier tournament, and it had 10 players, which no other way to get in besides just them saying, hey, we want you in. And obviously the organization running that Invitational is going to invite their 4 players, so that's going to already take up almost half the slots automatically. That's kind of wild to me. I'm just saying. I feel like maybe this should have been like an unranked thing if there's going to be no other way for people to get invited. Like, I don't know. And the other big reason why it just kind of felt a little bit scuffed in a way, just a lot of people had a problem with this, is all of pools was best out of 3. And, you know, with Invitationals especially, when there's like these small brackets, usually, you know, like I think some, you know, like was spread out, you know, kind of throughout the weekend. So obviously there's a little bit more time involved, but still, I mean, I feel like the tournament started early today and it ended pretty early as well. So I feel like there was time to do best out of 5, and you kind of just might as well. I feel like just to really get a clear picture. I mean, I know Mars set against Sonics, I believe it was 2-1. You know, maybe it's best of 5 and something crazy happens. I don't know. I just feel like best out of 5 is kind of, you know, when we have majors that are all best of 5 nowadays, like it's like a 10-person invitational. I mean, even Summit used to be like 16 people. A 10-person invitational, we can't run best out of 5. And pretty much just the sentiment that I've seen across social media is everybody just said that this kind of just felt like a big friendly session, and it was just kind of not really interesting to watch. And I kind of have to agree. I mean, I don't know what it was, but like watching the stream, like, I don't know, I really don't know what it was, but I was watching the stream and maybe it was just the layouts or like just the way that the stream kind of looked, but I just didn't even feel like watching it, to be honest. Like, I feel like at majors, they always have good looking layouts. You can clearly see everything, and I mean, like this is kind of like a small pet peeve, but I really kind of hated that during the game while the players are playing, there's no indication of like what round it is. It's only like after the game ends and it kind of shows the player counts for a second and it'll like say it on the top right or whatever, but like throughout the game there's no indication whatsoever, right? So it's like grand finals, there's nothing that says grand finals. You just kind of have to know, or like tune in at the right time, I guess. And again, I know I'm not the only person that feels like this. I came across this meme, I thought it was pretty funny online, so you know, there's people out there that kind of clouding on the event, and so, you know, I can't really blame them for that. But I don't know, like, to be honest, I just wasn't really interested at all in this event, and I kind of tuned into like the back half of top 8. I did watch a little bit of the earlier parts of it too, but I mean, it just, I don't know, it's like the matchups just, like, a lot of them just didn't feel close. Like, you got Meister out here playing Sora, he's playing Cloud, like, these are characters that he doesn't really play. I mean, I know he plays Sora, but like anytime I see him playing Sora, I immediately think of that Twitter account that just tweets whenever like Sora shows up at a major, and it's always them being 0-1 because Sora does not win anything. So, you know, it's a character that just doesn't win, and anytime he switches off a Game & Watch, you know he's about to lose. So yeah, it kind of felt like a lot of sets were just not close at all. The only close sets were like at the very end with like DeBuzz, Shattuck, you know, Shattuck, Sonics, which, like I said, I feel like Shattuck, he kind of saved this event a little bit. You know, it was nice to see him win this, I can't even lie, but before that, you know, it was not really interesting to me too much. Overall, this Invitational is a good thing, of course. You know, anytime, like I said, that Smash gets any kind of sponsorships that are like from, you know, a legitimate source, like Kroger, for example, you know, I think it's a good thing for the game just to, you know, kind of bring awareness to the scene, I guess. But I don't know, man. Like, a lot of the stuff I'm complaining about here, I know is stupid. Like, I know it's gonna sound like I'm just complaining about everything, but it just, I don't know, like, I just didn't get a good feeling about this tournament, and I know a lot of people kind of feel that way. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know if this was a good viewing experience or if it just felt a little bit off. I just feel like the hype didn't really build up for this event, and just, you know, best out of 3 pools, and, you know, going through that just to eliminate one person out of the pool, and, you know, top 8, and I don't know, man. I'm definitely a fan overall of the Invitational tournaments, but I do think that it should be kind of similar to Summit, where, you know, you can either have vote-ins or, you know, ways to qualify for these events. I feel like with invitationals, they're like a pretty big thing, right? Whenever you gather the best players in the world into one single event. And so I think to announce it 2-3 weeks out, before it actually happens, I just don't think that's really enough time to really build it up. And I just don't really agree with having a tournament ranked that high when like I said, almost half the slots are automatically taken by the tournament, organizer, hosting the event. Like it's their roster, you know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, that's gonna be about it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy the event, and if you didn't, I'm sure we've got some more stuff to look forward to upcoming. I know Gombo's coming up pretty soon, so definitely be checking that out, and that's always a fantastic event, so I expect nothing less. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all later.